Morning guys, welcome back to the channel. On today's episode, I'm off to get a new shell. So you joined me on Friday the 19th of March. Apologies for the last video. It was miserable as sin with the work van blown up. However, that's being repaired and should be ready on Monday, so that's good. But yeah, what we're doing today, I'm driving to Hemel Hempstead as mentioned in the last video to take some parts to put on a replacement shell that I found. So shout out to Samuel, who I'll be meeting shortly. He's stripped down the shell, the project Puma that he was building, and all that it is a solid shell, and it's got an FIA approved rear cage. However, it was up for £1,000 with quite a few parts on it. However, I've agreed £400 with him, and it's just going to have the steering rack, front hubs, the bare shell, and the cage. So I'm having to drive down with my rear axle and wheels and rear suspension and steering wheel, so I can fit them up. And the car courier service is picking up the car between 9 and 10, so I was up at I was up at 5:15 this morning, on the road by 5:30, and it's now 6:20, and I should be there at 8:10. So yeah, hopefully this video will be a bit more interesting for you, a bit more content, and I'm looking forward to seeing what condition the shell's in, because the pictures that he sent me, which was about 50 photos, it looks absolutely solid, which is just what we need in order to continue the project. And it's going to save so much time working on the bottom end. It just means I can get the wrap to paint mixed in the white colour that I want to go for, and just start treating the underside of the car and get the underside built, which means I can get it as a rolling shell, and then I can start working on getting the rear panels fitted and getting the other panels on the car and deciding what I'm going to do in the interior, etc. So hopefully a bit better of a video for you today. I'll speak to you again soon once I arrive in Hemel Hempstead. Stonehenge, if you will. Absolute shit.
I like.
There she is, boys. What an absolute state. Oh, I excite.
back home. First off, huge thanks to Samuel for letting me have the car for 400 quid. I think he would have preferred to have sold it as a package and all the panels on it. I did pay an extra £50 for the doors because they're in really good condition. But anyway, let's have a look at the shell. It's really good. He's removed this panel here, which is this section here, which has got the boot latch on, so I may cut that out of mine and refit it on here. That's the only thing I was a little bit disappointed about, that that's gone, but that's not a big deal. However, the main points are, take a look at this. It's absolutely perfect. It's solid. There was a little bit of rust he said on the edge there, which he took off and cleaned up, but it's absolutely brilliant. The tank's no dents in the tank either, so when I drop that, he's got some plastic coating on it, so I can take that off, get that painted silver. I'm going to get the whole underside painted white in this finish, this Schultz finish, but in a white colour to match the same colour of paint of the car. So it's even got the fuel lines which I needed into the fuel tank. It's got the fuel lines from the tank to the engine bay. But I mean, take a look at how solid it all is. It's absolutely perfect. One thing to mention is there was powder coat in the screw threads into here, so we're having a nightmare putting these bolts in. So they're only in loosely, but I'll need to dye those to make them better. But moving on to the sills, I mean, they are absolutely perfect. That's barely a mark on them, like it's never been lifted off the floor. The underside's solid, so I'll give that a good clean and paint it in the white, the same as before. But I mean, hopefully you can see on the camera, but this is perfect. Finding this shell at the time I did is such a relief. And same in here, as you can see, no damage at all. It's absolutely solid. So the arches have been done, there's no rust or anything in there. Obviously it comes with a windscreen, which is good. With regard to the roof, there's a couple of marks here, but I'll have to get all these sanded out. The rear glass will come out for weather new, so you cut a line there and you weld the other one in, and it goes over the top and it's bonded on. While we're on this side, if you look in here, this is usually where they all rot at the bottom there. It's all absolutely fine. This is the cage, I think it's a JR cage, FIA approved cage. Decently welded in, solid plate, so that's not going anywhere. Pedal box, which I need. I put my steering wheel on it for now. And so the doors are complete, they're not been all cut out and hashed, so that's why I bought them off him as well. Engine bay, he has painted it and the paint's gone on really well and it's nice and smooth, so when I go to paint it in white, all I have to do is rough up the surface to give it to tack to. So basically the whole car's going to be white now, from the underside to engine bay to the panels. I think I'm going to go with the new Puma Frozen White, I think it's called. I saw a brand new Puma the other day and the white looks really good. So that's what I think I'm going to go for. So I'll need to get the paint code given to the company that creates the undercoating for the underside of the car, because my intentions are to drop the rear beam, lift at the back of the car, get all the end of the car painted white and start putting the things back on, i.e. the beam, the fuel tank and the front subframe. It's got the fuel lines that I need, the clutch cylinder. So yeah, really happy to get it back. I'll just wait for I'm going to do it online to get the V5. And then it's a case of getting these rear panels on. So I'll heat up the glass here and pull these windows out. The other thing is, this strip here is in really good condition. They usually rust here and expand. It has a little bit, but not too bad. So that means I've got two decent strips. I've got the glass panels in the T5. Yeah, just great to have it back. I bought a cover from Screwfix. It was an $18.99. It's not probably the nicest for the neighbours to have this eyesore, but so I'll get it covered up. So yeah, not sure what to do today. I was going to give the T5 a clean, but what I might look at doing is getting the back of the car up in the air so I can take off the fuel tank. I'll drop the fuel tank, yeah, if I drop the fuel tank, get it lifted up, make sure this back of the end is all ready, and then start cleaning up and washing with some hot water the underside of the car so I can get all that underside painted. So I'm going to work from the bottom up is the goal. I also need to, as I said, look into this here, because if I go for the boot lid, which has got the pins in, I probably wouldn't need the latch, but I quite like the idea of having the latch still. So but anyway, that's not going to stop me from working on the bottom of the car. So yeah, much better news this time around than the last video so far. It's good. Shout out to the delivery driver. It was only £128 to move it from Hemel Hempstead. So yeah, I've got a decent shell, so extremely happy about that, as you can probably tell. But anyway, waffling again. Let's get the car up in the air, take off the rear beam and take a look at what we got. Right, that's the car under that new cover I bought. Piece of shit. I mean, it's big enough to cover it, but it tore straight away. 19 quid cover for you. So you would have seen in the time lapse that the whole underside of the car is now stripped. So I need to go inside and do some research onto the paint. I want it, you can basically get the undercoating match colour coded to whatever paint code you want, and I'm going to go, as I said earlier, the Ford Puma frozen white. So I'll get that so I can spray the underside, and once the underside's sprayed I can start adding other bits. The fuel tank's off. It's got like a rubberized coating, so that's pretty good on there. I'll give it a coat of silver, paint it up silver I think. I've got another filler neck, this one, which one hasn't been cut like the previous one I cleaned up in an old video. Yeah, so the fuel rail is a full complete one. Taken off the gear selector off the green lump. It came with a carbon fibre gear knob, which is quite nice. That'll go back on. I removed the handbrake cable because these are really hard to get hold of, and if you can find one, are really expensive, so that's going to take some serious cleaning up. I'm going to, because it's flexible and these metal joints move, if I try and paint it, it'll crack, so I'll clean it up with a wire brush and then use some rubberized paint to tidy it up, to save me like 150 quid even if I could find one. The fuel lines are off, they're all in good order again. I'll clean them up and paint them up. Yeah, that's about it for now. No, it's not. These panels, as I said in my last video, are really beaten up at the end, but there's a company, I'll put their details on the screen now, who make the replacement panels, but they do a replacement section just for this part. It's £247 for the pair, but as you can see, this is the worst part on both of them, so I'll just get those panels in, cut that along the line and weld that other one back in, so the bottom sections are fine, which, as I said, are the worst bits. So that's another 250 quid. But yeah, so the next, I was getting a bit concerned again that I've got so much going on and I'm not going to be able to do bits and bobs on it, and what the next phase is. So what I'm going to do is focus on concentrating on getting the underside painted, so that's the main priority at the minute, and anything related to the underside, so the rear beam, making sure that's then mounted, all the fuel tank, replace that. Oh, did I mention the uprated fuel pump that's on here. I took that off this car, so that will go into here, and then get, as I said, get the underside painted and get it all back together. So yeah, that's going to be it for this video. Thanks all for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and like, and hopefully in the next video I'll have some more information on the paint I'm going with, and yeah, hopefully it'll be another good video to come for you all. Oh yeah, I've got to get on.